Welcome to Voices of Democracy, a chronicle that presents the state of governance in Senegal and Africa. My name is Yassine Fall. Senegal is often called the mirror of democracy in West Africa and in Francophone Africa. However, we can recognize today that there are reasons to be worried. Senegalese people have demonstrated a high level of political maturity for the past 60 and more years, showing that they could go through processes of change of government in peace by making their own decision as they see fit. In a sub-region where many countries have gone through military coup or violent regime change. However, today we can say that Senegal is under threat. We live a very serious risk of implosion due to various forms of violation of human rights and the weaponization of the justice system. His Excellency President Macky Sall came to power after fighting President Abdoulaye Wade, who was trying to push a third term. President Macky Sall made promises in various settings and various venues, be it in the country or overseas, be it in rural areas and urban settings, stating that he will not and never run for a third term, stating that no one will ever see him betray his word and push for a third term. However, today we are living a very dire situation where President Macky Sall, since he took power in Senegal in 2012, has been putting all the conditions to annihilate and dismantle every possibility of having a strong candidate. This started with Karim Wade, who was minister, who was accused of funds embezzlement together with 25 people. Out of those 25 people, only Minister Karim Wade was tried under a special court, was first put in jail and then exiled to Qatar. Another one who was threatening President Macky Sall as a potential candidate for presidency was the mayor Khalifa Sall, liked by the Senegalese, and who announced that he will run for presidency. President Macky Sall accused him of funds embezzlement, removed him out of the mayorship of Dakar, and put him in jail for several years, and prevented him from running for presidential candidate until today. The third person who President Sall saw as a potential threat for a successful candidate is President Ousmane Sonko, who is the president of the party Pastef les patriotes. Ousmane Sonko is now the new victim of the strategy of systemic elimination of pretenders. However, this time, President Macky Sall is facing a very fierce opponent because of four major characteristics. Number one, President Ousmane Sonko has a clean record and cannot be accused of funds embezzlement during the 15 years he has been a senior tax officer in Senegal. He is a young leader, a brilliant intellectual with several books on solutions on how to develop Senegal on the basis of economic sovereignty and political autonomy. He is also a very popular and respected leader by Senegalese people. He is veneered by the youth who believe in his project proposal and are willing to do anything by any means necessary to protect him. This has put President Sall in a very difficult situation in how can he find a way to annihilate this new opponent that is much bigger and much larger in terms of scope and love and influence than all his predecessors that were planning to ask for the Senegalese to elect them as president for next election in 2024. Then what happened? Faced with the difficulty of using funds embezzlement to accuse President Sonko, the entourage of President Macky Sall developed a political plot by accusing President Ousmane Sonko of rape on a young lady who was working in a massage place. However, all of the evidence showed that this was a political plot. The night the accuser claimed that she was raped, she was taken by a black SUV in which a member of the party of President Sall was, and that member of President Sall helped her go to the hospital to get a medical visit. The doctor who undertook the medical visit produced a report that was leaked to the press, and that showed that for the past 3 days, that young woman did not have any intimate relations with anyone. Number 2, the gendarme, the police report that was done right after the alleged rape indicated that not only the young woman had given different versions that were contradictory, but from the investigation they did and the testimonies from people who were present in the space where it was supposedly happening, there was no case of rape. So both the police investigation and the medical visit rejected the accusation of rape. Not only that, a third important element is that the employer of the lady who owned the place, her husband, the former employer of the young lady, and all of the women who were working in the massage place, all of the co-workers of the accuser, all said that Mr. Sonko was innocent and that the young lady was not telling the truth. All of this story leaked to the press, and the Senegalese people decided that the justice has to be rendered under the name of the people, and that Mr. Sonko was innocent and that this was a political plot. Despite that, Mr. Sonko was arrested and there were huge riots in Senegal. Following the riots of February-March 2021, several reports condemned the government of Senegal. We can cite Amnesty International, US State Department, Bureau of Democracy and Human Rights and Labor, which stated, and I quote, "There were credible reports members of security forces committed abuses. The March arrest of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko triggered several days of intense political protests that spiraled into widespread riots and looting, causing 13 deaths, more than 600 injuries, $1 million of property damage." The report continues and said, "Unlawful and arbitrary killings, including extrajudicial killings by or on behalf of the government, torture or cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment of punishment by or on behalf of the government, harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, arbitrary arrest or detention, political prisoners and detainees, serious problems with the independence of the judiciary, serious restriction of free expression and media, including violence and threats of violence against journalists, censorship, criminal libel and slander laws, and serious government corruption." End of quote. So you see that not only Human Rights Watch, the United Nations human rights bodies, the United States government, and many other international bodies, but also youth Senegalese journalists and independent civil society organizations and human rights activists all condemn the Senegalese government in its use of force during the riots of 2021 that followed the jailing of Ousmane Sonko. These riots, until today, continue to haunt the spirit of Senegalese people because this country is not used to this kind of violence. But then, after President Sall came out and said that I have understood you, days later, President Sall came and say, this, what happened will never happen again, blaming people who are rioting as terrorists. We are living since 2021 in a state of terror. And I weigh my words when I say a state of terror. Journalists have been jailed. 650 people that have been injured are still being in and out of hospitals. And the 13 people that died still have not received justice. No investigation as of today has been undertaken by the government. But not only that, we are living situations where the opposition is not allowed to organize public demonstrations, where demonstrations are more demonstrations are banned than authorized, where the journalists are being jailed, young people and activists who are walking the street trying to register people to vote. So we are living in a situation of terror in Senegal. And this is why we are calling on the world to watch Senegal. We are calling upon the world to talk to President Macky Sall and ask him that all this situation of lack of democracy, of threat to good governance is due to his intention to run for a third term. President Macky Sall cannot fight in 2011 against President Wade, side by Senegalese against a third term, to come today and wanting to run for a third term. Madame Aminata Touré, who was on his side since 2012, has been sacked by Parliament, has been sacked by their government. She dared to say, President Sall, you are not entitled for a third term. This is not what we promised to the Senegalese. This is not what you put when you amended the constitution. I cannot go for this. I will not accept it. She has been sacked and she has been harassed, and now she is being accused of funds embezzlement. We must never forget the memory of all those fallen under the weapon and the violence by several reports. And we should name them. Moussa John, 34 years old. Alassane Bari, 17 years old. Famara Gojabi, 20 years old. Sheikh Wad, 20 years old. Massine Gay, 15 years old. Papsi Dimbay, 20 years old. Mansour Cham, 20 years old. Sheikh Koli, 20 years old. Mbay Sheikh Diop, 17 years old. Sheikhuna Ndiaye, 22 years old. Sadio Kamara, 18 years old. Bunama Sanya, 12 years old. Sherif Abdoulaye Mane, 18 years old. Idrissa Goudiaby, that passed away later on. Abdoulaye Diatta also, that passed away later on under the arms of the military because they were simply protesting. Protesting is a right in Senegal. Demonstration is a right in Senegal. No one, I say, should lose their life because they are demonstrating in Senegal. This is really shameful. This is a criminal act by government of Macky Sall, and it needs to stop. Senegalese people are saying enough is enough. Since December 2021, many people have been put in jail. Many people. Amija, a mother who has been in jail for many months now. 650 people have been wounded since the riot of 2021. About 20 of them lost an arm or a leg or an eye. 2 of them have become blind. This is enough. All of this jailing come out of political confrontation. And the underlining reason for the political confrontation is an attempt by President Macky Sall to present himself as candidate for the third time for the presidential elections of 2021, which the Senegalese people have said no. Civil society has said no. Peace is better than a third term. That's the motto calling of civil society to President Macky Sall. Don't even try is another motto calling that activists and human rights groups and civil society are telling to President Macky Sall, beyond what political opposition parties are saying. So this means that Senegalese people are saying to President Macky Sall, we are not going to accept this forcing, pushing by violence for a third term. We know President Macky Sall is hiring thousands of new gendarmes that have been taken away after training, not hired. They have been all called back. We know that President Macky Sall had purchased a lot of armament in different countries recently for repression of demonstrators. We know that the followers of President Macky Sall are saying, if you resist the third term, we will kill you, we will maim you. But nothing is above the will of the people. But we don't want to get to that. We don't want to get to that confrontation simply because one man is trying to put a democratic country into a dictatorship and put it through tyranny. We don't want to get to that. We don't want to get, and this is why we are warning the world to come to the rescue of Senegal. We are warning the world to come to reason President Macky Sall, especially his major partners, the French government, the European Union, and all the international partners, to tell to the President Macky Sall, this is bigger than you. Senegal has millions of people that can lead this country. It's not only you that should be present. Let it go. This is Voices of Democracy. Thanks for joining us.